once in a while, I like to give myself a challenge. This studio sesh, I thought I would try making collages out of only National Geographic. Hi, welcome to my studio. I'm Jess, I'm a collage artist, and I'm gonna share with you an inside look at my process to see how this challenge played out. Was I successful, or did I have to bend the rules a little to make it work?
Make it work!
So if that sounds like fun to you, then let's get started. This studio session is going to start off in a very traditional way, which is just flipping through some National Geographics. My eye landed first on this young lady who is sweeping in a classroom, and I thought it would be interesting to pull her out and play with scale. I pretty quickly found another background that's a landscape that I thought could work. I thought maybe it would be cool to kind of have her standing in this scene and sort of sweeping away at the clouds as if she's revealing the mountains. I was so excited for this idea, but the more I played with her placement, I didn't like how she was getting so far up on the page if I tried to have the broom sort of landing on the mountain to give that idea that she's sweeping things away. And I didn't want to have her standing too far low because then her broom is just in the clouds, and I didn't think that idea would translate super well. Basically, I liked the idea, but not the composition, the way that it would need to be in order to create the vision that I had in mind. So that just means we gotta go back to the books. Which isn't a problem. I love going through books. It's a lot of fun. And if you go through the same books sort of over and over again, you get to know the pieces and the pages, and you remember things as you start flipping, and ideas might come back as you're looking, which is a great reminder, at least for myself, that when I start to get the itch to get something new, I do already have a lot of great materials that I just need to look through and recapture that feeling of excitement. Eventually, I find this city scene of a highway and lots of cars at night, and I love this, especially because with the landscape, I don't know that the sense of scale was really going to come through. I think if you were really looking at it, you might notice, but here it's so obvious that these are cars, and you have a sense of what a car size is and also what a human size is, so this works a lot better if I'm playing with scale. Hi, first off, thanks so much for being here still. We're about halfway through the video, and if you like what you've seen so far, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel for sure, but it also helps me to know if this is even resonating with others. If this is the first time you've hung out with me in the studio, then you might not know, but I have this theory, this sort of modus operandi, where I really believe in the power of a third piece. Not to say that a collage only needs 3 pieces, but I think to make at least a kind of okay collage, you need to have at least 3 ideas engaging with one another. So I have the background, which is idea number 1, sort of the city street. Then I have the young girl who is sweeping, and for my third piece, I didn't know what that could be, and I eventually landed on the idea that I wanted to have little moments of peace that are showing through the windshields of some of the cars. Now, I didn't actually have any pieces picked out for this concept. I just really went whole hog and I cut the windows out before I had planned anything. So I start looking through my National Geographics. And unfortunately, I honestly don't really find any pieces that I think are going to translate this well. This is where I maybe bent to the rules a little. I pulled out a National Geographic travel catalog. It's not an actual National Geographic magazine. It's one of their magazines that help sell trips to people, but it is still National Geographic, so it kind of counts. I really liked how a lot of these images were of these incredible natural landscapes, and they were quite far away to give you a sense of scale, which allowed me to be able to pull out smaller little vignettes and put them inside the car windows, since those are quite small. After I had the little vignettes chosen and cut out, I set about gluing them to the back of my background. This proved to be a little tricky, but I tried to leave myself plenty of room above and below the horizon line on the little vignettes to give myself a place to add glue and wiggle them around if I needed to. I also didn't do any measuring, so I figured if I did cut one poorly or slightly too skinny, I could always find another page or just cut out another piece. These are important little pops of color and a little moment of peace within the busyness and the craziness of the city scene. But I wasn't super worried about exactly what was inside the windshield, just so long as it was a nice, picturesque landscape. My last step is to get the sweeper glued in. So first, I add her back into the scene and just double check that I'm happy with the placement. Even though I already kind of cut into the background, I don't have to put her here. I can change my mind at this point, but I like what I have, and I think that that's a good spot for her. I think that there's enough going on in the foreground that it draws the eye downward. The one thing that is hard whenever you are doing this technique of cutting the background and then slipping your piece behind is that in order to do this, you do have to glue it, so it gets a bit sticky and it can be kind of hard to place things. It is a labor of love to do it this way, but I think it helps to ground the piece a little bit more. Whenever I've tried pasting on top and just trimming the piece on top down to whatever edge seems reasonable, I feel like I never get it quite right. Anyway, it's a little hard, but I think it's worth it to do it this way. Okay, that's it. I think we're gonna stop here. I have run out of ideas for how to make this better, so instead of banging my head against the wall trying to do something else, I think I'm gonna just take a step back and call this one done. I think that I accomplished what I was hoping to accomplish today. I got a chance to be a little creative, and I hope that this helped inspire you or give you ideas for what to do in your own art practice today. If you like this and you want to hang out with me a little longer in the studio today, then check this video out. YouTube thinks you'll like it. And I think that's it. Okay, bye! See ya! Bye!